Excellent. Hey, everybody, welcome to the Colorado Agriculture Behavioral Health Working Group for May. Good to see you all. Thanks for joining. And to our community that's joining us online, thank you for joining as well. We do have Diego with us that will be providing Spanish translation. So I'm going to turn it over to Diego to introduce the Spanish translation and welcome our Spanish speaking guests as well. Hey, Diego, good timing. Over to you.
Thank you, Clinton. Hi, everyone. Can you hear my audio okay?
Yep.
Great. Hi, everyone. Just a reminder, I'm Diego Ponce here with the CLC. I'll be the simultaneous interpreter for today's call. So in a moment, after I give these instructions in both languages as usual, the interpretation is activated by the meeting's host. Once interpretation gets activated, you'll see a globe icon that will say interpretation. That's going to appear there on the toolbar of your computer screen. That globe icon says interpretation. I ask you to select that globe icon option and to please select your preferred language, in this case, English. If you're joining today's call on your cell phone or tablet, look for that More button, the three dots button there in the corner of your device, which should allow you to find that interpretation globe icon so you can select your preferred language on one of these two devices, your phone or tablet. If you are not fully bilingual, I strongly encourage you to select your preferred language so you can listen to the interpretation, aka my voice, in case anyone speaks up in the opposite language, Spanish, and you would like to know what they're saying. If you are bilingual, my personal recommendation for you is to not select the language channel. That way you don't have to hear my voice as the interpreter, and you can just speak freely in whichever language you want without having to switch manually back and forth the language channels on your device. As always, just please pay attention to the speed in which you're speaking. As long as you're going at a conversational pace like this and you take frequent breaks and you don't speak at the same speed in which you read in your mind, then you're going at a great speed for me. But if you have any questions for me, the interpreter, you can let me know through the chat. Thank you so much. And now in Spanish. Buenas tardes a todos y a todas. Yo soy Diego Pons. Voy a ser el intérprete simultáneo para la reunión de hoy de parte del CLC, Community Language Cooperative. En un momento se va a activar la interpretación. Cuando se active esa interpretación, usted va a poder ver ese icono del globo de la Tierra que va sin interpretación y va a aparecer ahí abajo en la derecha de su pantalla. Yo le voy a pedir que por favor seleccione ese icono globo de la Tierra y que por favor elija su idioma preferido. Si hoy está asistiendo a la reunión en su celular o en su tableta, busque por favor la opción que dice More, M-O-R-E, con ese botón de tres puntos ahí en la esquina de su dispositivo. Y eso le permitirá a usted poder encontrar la opción de interpretación para que pueda elegir su idioma preferido para la reunión de hoy. Si usted no es completamente bilingüe, le aconsejo que por favor elija su idioma preferido para que pueda escuchar la interpretación cuando alguien está hablando en el otro idioma. Si usted sí es bilingüe, se puede sentir libre de escuchar a todos hoy en su idioma original. Ya no sé en un canal de idioma, no tener que escuchar mi voz como intérprete. Sí, como siempre, si tienen preguntas para mí, el intérprete me dejan saber por el chat. Muchas gracias. We're ready.
Awesome. Thanks, Diego. And for the people joining us from the community, there is a Q&A chat button at the bottom of your screen. Please feel free to interact via that throughout the call, and Rosie will be monitoring that and will relay those messages or those questions on to whoever it pertains to. And then written comments are welcome anytime. You can access our webpage for the working group. And Rosie, can you drop that in the chat?
Yes.
And there's a comment section there that you can reach out and ask questions for the working group that'll be passed on to us as well. Thanks for joining. And for the members of the working group, we'll do quick introductions so that we continue to learn each other's names and the people who are joining know who we are and what we do. And I threw in a quick question on the agenda. If you have a highlight for your spring so far, let us know. Not a real long one, but just a quick update. And my name is Clinton Wilson. I work for Colorado State Extension and the Colorado Agri-Ability Project. I sit as the chair on this committee as a member of Rocky Mountain Farmers Union. And this spring has been a weird one because it was so dry at first and now it was wet, and it's been really fun to see the grass start growing. But my highlight was probably this weekend watching my middle child graduate from high school. We had a fun party out at our house, and we had some baby lambs and goat kids that were born over the past 2 weeks. And so we had a little petting zoo for everybody, and everybody thought it was a kick. So with that, I'm going to pass it to my left back to Rosie so she can introduce herself.
Hi everyone, my name is Rosie Scavron, and I am the Drought and Climate Resilience Office Program Assistant here at the Colorado Department of Agriculture. And my highlight of the spring so far is I love outdoor live music, and I got to go to Red Rocks last night to see Alabama Shakes with my parents, and it was awesome.
Sweet. And now I'll pass it to my right to Mike.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Mike Olguin, Tribal Council Treasurer, and this weekend we just finished up our annual Bear Dance, which is kind of the spring celebration, and a lot of folks came out to participate and visit with a lot of friends and relatives. So it was a great weekend.
That's awesome. Thomas, you want to introduce yourself?
Yep, Thomas Eisenbarth. I live up here in Northeast Kansas, and I'll talk about Grounded a little bit later. But I really enjoy being around cattle, and we just brought home another load of fall-bred heifers a couple weeks ago. So that was really nice to actually have some grass and turn some cows out. Always a good day to watch cows find green grass. So,
right, it's a fun noise hearing them go after those lush pastures. Thanks for joining us. Looking forward to hearing from you later.
You bet.
Rebecca.
Hi, everybody. Sorry, it took me a minute to find my buttons. I'm Rebecca Gale. I'm the Behavioral Health Manager for the Southern Ute Indian Tribe. And I think the highlight of my spring is coming up in a couple of days when I go for a vacation to Zion National Park and Bryce Canyon with my grandchildren and do a bunch of hiking. So I'm looking forward to that.
That sounds lovely. Thanks for joining us. Look forward to hear from you later. Julie.
Hi, Julie Elliott, Behavioral Health Specialist with the Colorado State University Agri-Ability Program, located here in Grand Junction. I cover the Western Slope. My highlight was this last weekend, just getting to see family on my Andrew side of the family. None of us are getting any younger, so you never know when it could be the last time, right? So, but that was a highlight. Thank you.
Excellent. Liz.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Liz Thomas. I'm the Agricultural and Rural Program Administrator for the Behavioral Health Administration. Done quite a bit this spring. We went on a large trip to Asia, Philippines, Taiwan, and Vietnam. And then this last weekend, we were in Chicago for an American Indian wedding. So that was really incredible to see how they combine those different cultures. So those have been my two highlights.
Those are fun ones. Chad.
Yeah, maybe not quite as exotic, but I considered a highlight. I've been to the San Luis Valley twice this spring on a drought-related projects, and unfortunately, all of them were before the moisture. So in my head, I like to think that that's been incredibly helpful. So, oh, and by the way, I'm Chad Rezenchek. I'm Behavioral Health State Specialist with Colorado State University Extension and the Agri-Ability Project. Hello.
Excellent. Jacob.
Hey everybody, Jacob Walter coming to you from southeastern Colorado. My daytime job, I'm the Director of Outreach and Recruitment for Colorado State University Pueblo. On here for my multiple hats, but primarily as an ag producer. And I guess my exciting thing, although I'm terrified of bees because, we're allergic, I planted way too many strawberries. They're flowering like nobody's business and the strawberries are coming. So excited for that.
Man, the strawberries are here and they're awesome. Leova.
Hey there, I'm Leova Mascareñas, Chief Program Officer with San Luis Valley Behavior Health Group. An exciting thing and stressful thing is that they're remodeling my kitchen and my bathroom. So once it's done, I'm going to be super excited and embrace it. But right now it's chaos. And so I'm just going to put positive intent that it's going to be fabulous once it's done.
Yes, those are always fun projects to finish.
Yes.
Dr. Karika.
Good afternoon, JC Karika with Access Health System in Southwest Colorado here in Durango. I will say I was home this weekend in Rocky Ford. We're still 2.5 weeks without any measurable moisture. It is not good in southeast Colorado. River bottom fire this week as well as some different grass fires are getting out of control. So hopefully some rain this week. Positive news, my daughter was, she works in healthcare setting, but was offered the Adams State girls golf coach position and accepted. So that is a side job that she has. So if you have any college or high school girls that want to play college golf, let me know. Happy to help set them up and start building up that program down there in Alamosa.
Oh, that's exciting. Catherine.
Hi, everyone. Catherine Harvey, Rural Strategies Specialist for the Office of Suicide Prevention, and I'm zooming in from 10 miles north of Blackhawk. Exciting thing this spring. Yesterday was my boyfriend's birthday, so we went and we stayed in Redstone this past weekend and had a nice extended weekend and hit 3 different hot springs and are now extremely exhausted and need a vacation from that vacation. Good to see you all.
Love those vacation follow-ups. Tim.
Good afternoon, everybody. Tim Miller, Director of Industry Relations with the Colorado Farm Bureau. My big exciting thing, I'm a big fan of the English soccer team known as Arsenal, and they won the Premier League this past weekend. And I'm actually heading down to Arizona this upcoming weekend to follow up, go to the Arizona chapter that we're going to watch the UEFA Champions League final in which Arsenal is in. So it was a fun weekend.
That's awesome. Yeah. Wendy.
Good afternoon, Wendy Buxton Andrade, policy for Mental Health Colorado. And spring-wise, I guess this weekend I had all my kids home, so it was fun. We went to the Rapids soccer game because it was Mental Health Awareness Day at the Rapids game. So it was a fun weekend with everybody.
Oh, that sounds great. Derek.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Derek Harvey. I'm the new program manager for 988, and I have, I guess, 2 things kind of ag-related that I'm happy about. So I've been raising bees for the last several years, but not really gotten too much into it. And this year, with the rain and the flowers and everything that's happening in Palisade. Oh, I forgot to mention, I'm calling in from Montrose, Colorado, but I've got some places pretty much in several spots on the western slope. But the bees are in Palisade, and they have exploded in population. And so I've got several different spinoffs that I'm going to start cutting out those and have tons of honey and bees, and the grass is starting to grow on my ranch. And so I'm actually going to have hay this year, which would be great.
Oh, that's great. Really good to hear that bees are exploding in a good way. We've been worried about them decreasing, but that's good to hear. Mike Lozano.
Yes, hi everybody. I'm Mike Lozano from Warhorse Ranch here in Steamboat Springs. I recently picked up a position as the Chief Ambassador to the Marcus Institute for Brain Health since I went through the program. So they asked me to, start ramping up as an ambassador with that. Also, our bees are doing very well. We've got some good rain and a late snow on the Front Range. Yeah, and Memorial Day yesterday, I did. I was the commander for the 21 gun salute that we always do here in Steamboat, and that's always it's always a good remembrance. And otherwise, I've just been picking up with Team Semper Fi, which helps disabled veterans with activities. So I'm doing a golf clinic, and they're sending me to a mountain bike clinic, and then later on in August, I'm jumping on a 9-day pack trip. So yeah, we're just doing a lot of good things with mental health and just helping out other veterans and people in general. So thank you.
Thanks, Mike, and thanks for your service, and anyone else on here who has served our country in that capacity. Appreciate it, Mike. I think Yulissa, you're our last one. Glad you could join.
Last for the best, guys.
That's right.
Hello, right? Hello, Julissa Soto. founder and CEO of Julissa Soto Latino Health Equity Consulting, and Casa Inmigrante, which is a nonprofit suicide prevention commissioner. And I formally announced my candidacy for running for Denver City Council at large, guys. So from being an activist and an advocate, I am going to politics. I don't know how that's gonna go, guys, because I'm not a politician, okay? And I'm gonna be a very different politician here. They're gonna have lots of fun with me, and I'm gonna have lots of fun with them. But that's me, guys.
That's exciting, Julissa. Glad you could join. And I wish that was the first time I'd ever heard a non-politician say that they weren't a politician. So good luck with that messaging. I think that it's accurate, but I think you'll do great if you can find your way in. Love having your voice at that table.
I know, right? We have to change things, Clinton. And I'm just tired of listening to the same things. So I'm like, no. I am not a career politician, but I have the heart and the passion for those in need.
Love it. All right. I'm not going to miss over meeting minutes from last time. If you had a chance to review those, did anybody have any edits or changes? They are linked in the agenda. I reviewed them before and they looked good to me. That was an awesome meeting. Really glad for anybody that was able to make it down to Durango for that in-person meeting last time. It was good to see you all. And those of you who couldn't make it, we'll have to do another in-person meeting. Maybe Rosie will tell us about an opportunity in July. But for these meetings, anybody have any edits or adjustments?
I have to abstain because I wasn't there.
Very good. Without any thumbs up from Mike, I'll get thumbs up from everybody that was there or not. Great. All right, Rosie, thumbs up the meetings. And Robert is not able to hop on. It doesn't look like. Robert was going to join us and give us a drought and water update. I got to be honest that this has felt like an emotional spring because of the folks that I've talked to that have been so without water and knowing how it has impacted my little farm. But even hearing JC talk about his trip to the Southeast, honestly, it makes my heart hurt. So JC, I know you gave us a little bit of an update at the last meeting, but anything that you know of on the drought front that you would want to share from any place around the state, but particularly Southeast?
Sure. I can tell you specifically in Southeast, there's a lot of conversations within the metropolitan districts, your municipalities about what they're going to try to save, whether that's going to be the parks, the golf courses, whether they're going to fill the swimming pools. So recreation may look a little bit different. Obviously, conversations are happening all over the place about water restrictions and what levels those are looked at, as well as what the fine situation will be and who will be in charge of enforcing those penalties. Because that's another level of administrative burden. I know there was a little bit of flood water that hit the ditch, the Fountain Creek, which will hit Arkansas Valley this week. So there is a little bit of open ditch, which is a little encouragement. So we didn't get the rain, but we are getting some of the runoff from the mountains. What I have also noticed is, or have heard conversations about a 30% reduction in planning overall. And we have seen a reduction in H-2A workers that typically show up in the region. So that's what I get to tell you over the last week.
Thanks for that. Anybody else around the state have any type of water or drought update? Rosie just dropped the CDA drought resource page, which I've been a part of a couple of drought conversations, and we've referenced that page, and it's really a great collection of resources.
Awesome. If you look on the page right now, we have an upcoming meeting on Friday, the 29th, and it's our Drought Cooperators meeting. We hosted one last month, and the idea is to just convene lots of folks that are collaborating on drought efforts across the state, and that group has now been designated the Ag Impacts Work Group for the state's Drought Task Force. So that means this group actually has the ability to offer recommendations. So if you're interested or you know anyone that you'd love to have them attend, you can register for that meeting on this page.
Rosie, is there a link from that page that maybe you could put in the chat as well?
I'll put the registration link.
That's perfect. Thanks.
I would just add too, Clinton, JC was mentioning some of the fires we've been having between Nebraska and Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Colorado, and then hitting that with some drought. Hay is a hot necessity. And so if anybody has a lead for some good cow hay on the cheap, remember that I asked for it first.
Yeah. Hay has definitely been a hot commodity throughout the whole spring. And right now, it seems like it really is, because I'm guessing that the grazing down in the southeast is pretty non-existent. Yeah. Anybody else, any drought events or drought meetings that you've been a part of that you want to share? Any updates or resources? Looks like Liz just shared a fact sheet. Anything you want to say about that, Liz?
I didn't realize I was going to post it right now, but this isn't to do with drought. It is a ag behavioral health work group fact sheet that Rosie and I created that people can use when they're out and about in outreach events.
Perfect. Thanks. All right. Then keep us posted, or at least keep Rosie posted on any events that may be going on that we can put out. Drought and weather are huge stressors for our folks in agriculture, and this year it seems like it is as heavy as it's been since I've lived in the state. I know a lot of you guys have been around for a long time, but the snowpack, I understand, is lower than it's ever been. So it seems pretty poignant for us to be supporting folks with those resources as we hear about them. But Jacob gets the hay first. All right, so we have Thomas Eisenbarth. He joined us last month, and he's back again this month to tell us about grounded ag. So Thomas, I think that we are right on time with you, so take as much of the next 30 minutes as you like to tell us about your grounded ag program.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Can everybody hear me all right? Is audio and everything's good? Okay. So like Clinton said, my name is Thomas Eisenbarth, and I grew up here in Northeast Kansas. Grew up on, we'll just call it a struggling cow-calf operation. I mean, coming out of the 80s and through the mid-90s. So I was born in 1994. I don't know if that, probably a young cat here, but being born in 1994 and watching what the 80s did to everybody and kind of how that all shook out. I mean, Grandpa had a cow-calf operation, tried some row crop, dairied for a while, had some pigs. I mean, he even tried to raise some dogs at one point. But all I can remember about coming out of the 80s, like all I remember is just the yuck and the struggle. I mean, just this proverbial weight. And so my dad fell in the middle of that family. And in 1997, the next youngest brother of my dad's, 1997 made a permanent decision. And to have something like that at the age of 3 or 4, which I have a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old right now at home, 2 little boys, but everything's why. It's why trying to get ready for daycare this morning. Like, why do I have to put on pants? It's just everything at that age is why. And so to have that as part of my childhood and to have all the whys in the world, and things got handled the best they could at that time, but just living in a small, tight-knit community, fairly religious, just all the things. Just not that there was any whys about it, but none of those questions ever got answered. And so to grow up with that situation and then kind of into adulthood and just always kind of feeling just the emotional heaviness and weight of it, but never really talking about it. I myself am the oldest of 3, and fast forward to 2021, and my middle sibling, my little brother, had an attempt, and he made a really, really good choice and he used a 988 resource. And I'm always really forthcoming and excited about that because that is a good resource. He's actually still in communication with that responding officer that responded to that 988. But history almost repeated itself. And for me to be an adult at that time and to be able to remember 1997 and kind of the things that led up to that, how it got dealt with, and then to almost have history repeat itself again. It lined up with some other interesting things in my life too, where I was struggling a little bit, maybe on some tougher times. And I finally just said enough. And as a 30-year-old at the time, as a 30-year-old male in agriculture in a town of 700, for me to seek out therapy and to be open and forthcoming with it caused quite the social wave. I remember, and I'll never know how everybody found out, which is neither here nor there, but like some of the crazy questions that I got in the gas station after those first couple of sessions, like asking how my lobotomy went and whether I have to lay down on couches when I talk and just all the crazy things. It really put it on my heart at that point to be able to try and take some of what I was learning, because it's all powerful and it's science, it's physiology, it's the neuroplasticity of the nervous system, all the things, to be able to take that and try and get it to agriculture, to a space that would be understandable. But it also was very, very evident to me that how tough of a job that was going to be. And so to dive into that full well, I'll share my screen here quick because this really drives it home. This is kind of the spot that I found myself in. I think as an industry, we do a really, really good job with the awareness piece, but this application piece is kind of where we're struggling. And that's all several different things, whether it's just lack of resources in rural areas, whether it's like innocent ignorance about the resources that are available to us. Just all of these things work against us when we're talking about the application piece. So like I said, I've come to understand like the science and like the therapy side of things. But at the end of the day, I'm still a farm kid, grew up in the coffee shop, grew up in the sale barn with those types of things. So to be able to try and blend these two completely opposite ends of the spectrum, it's been a really fun journey where using metaphors and analogies and really being the bridge between the awareness piece and the application piece. But it really dawned on me early in the journey, watching farmers, especially this year, get ready for planting season, how meticulously agriculture as a whole maintains equipment and cares for our livestock. I mean, we do all the things that we need to do very well, except take care of ourselves. And that really struck me and it really bothered me. And so I just laying awake at night one night, I thought about the process of maintenance where we're checking tires, we're changing the oil on the tractor, we're calibrating the planter, we're getting ready, right? No farmer in their right mind is just going to pull out of the shed and just go. But all of that maintenance is done off of an equipment manual, right? So if I need to set my planter, I would look at the table of contents, flip to page 72, and this is how you set the planter. Like, this is how you take care of your machinery. And I said, what if we could actually do that for the operator, for the human? Because you're removing stigma, because that manual is going to be something familiar and technical in nature to the producer. They're going to be familiar to work through that. So what I have been able to come up with, I'll share my screen here again, is the operator manual. So thinking back on like patterns I've noticed in kind of my family dynamic, and then thinking back on my little brother's situation, and then kind of different places that I found myself in and how I've kind of worked through those. I picked out 4 key, very simple, practical tools, very easily understood. But I took those and I used the analogies of equipment to hopefully explain that to producers. To where one of the biggest things for me was my sleep, getting my sleep ironed out. But if you think about a tractor, if I run a tractor full bore, 4,000 RPMs all day long, and then I just shut it off, that motor's not going to last very long. So as far as the sleep and the wind down process, like how do we cool ourselves down after stressful events? Because that's the other reality is this stress. It's not going anywhere. We can't avoid it. But if we can figure out practical ways to deal with it, I think we'll be in good shape. So the sleep, I picture like sitting in the cab of a tractor and the warning lights that might pop up, whether it's like low fuel, low oil, like overheating. I picture those on our dashboard, like our emotions. And so for that second section, if we can start to feel things in our body, like physiologically, if we can pick up on those emotions and we can compare those to warning lights on a tractor, hopefully get ahead of some things in a practical sense. The third thing was the exhaust system on the tractor, like the heat, the buildup, the stress of this life. How are we dealing with it? So we have to have some sort of release and healthy coping mechanisms. So we had those three, and then the fourth one was like oh now lubrication in our daily lives. So the moving parts of the machinery, if we don't grease them, if we don't properly take care of them, then those moving parts are going to wear and we're going to have things break. But the relationships that we maintain in our lives and the people around us and the human connection, I compare to greasing the machinery. So how we upkeep those relationships and take care of our people. So like I said, I've broken that operator manual into those 4 sections. And a lot of this work, it's been showing up in just like keynote presentations and public speaking opportunities. And then the next step, kind of on top of that, was some workshops to where I do have some classroom teacher background in me. So to be able to take these 4 key things and to kind of picture it like a classroom and to have some in-depth conversation in small groups has been kind of the workshop piece. And then the next step was to work with organizations maybe that have really, really good intentions, but they're struggling to kind of get that message to land with ag audience. I find myself a lot of times as that bridge from a consulting standpoint, delivering this, but also being on this side. I mean, being a farm kid at heart, I know how different messages land. So that consulting work. And then at the end of the day, my ultimate goal is some build outs of community framework, like community type support, to be able to picture a small town or picture a rural area. I mean, there's always 2 or 3 key just kind of community leaders. And I'm sure if we all just kind of thought about a small town, there's 2 or 3 people automatically come into your head. But to actually sit down on a community level with this manual and with a little bit of training and to just give us a chance to get ahead of this issue. Because I mean, I'll admit it, I'm not a therapist. I'm definitely not a doctor. And like at the cliff edge or at that crisis point, I mean, that is the work of somebody with letters behind their name. But we're finding more and more that, I mean, rural healthcare, they're doing the best that they can, but there has to be some type of bridge or some kind of link before that crisis point. So to be able to work upstream and be able to manage the day-to-day stress and have practical tools on the farm, I think is going to give us the best chance to hopefully get ahead of this. But that also needs to come from a community standpoint. So those key decision makers and key leaders in a community, if those 2, 3, 4, 5 people, if they have training with this manual, and then if they literally have, because I have them published and printed, but if those manuals are available at a community level, my ultimate dream and my ultimate goal would be to have one of those manuals in every tractor and every farm shop. Because if that farmer, if they understand the sustainability piece of it, to where, hey, I know I'm short on time and I know I'm behind on my work, but I have to take care of this issue now before it gets worse. I mean, if we think about that from a maintenance standpoint, yeah, it takes a little bit of time to stop and grease your machine, but it's going to be way better than running it into the ground. So if we could have just a little bit of practical knowledge on the farm along with these manuals in communities everywhere, I think is kind of the ultimate goal. And then the other goal that I've always had from kind of an industry standpoint is I picture let's use the local crop insurance agency, for example, to have a grounded sticker on that front window or that door, that if I'm a farmer and I'm struggling, maybe I'm not comfortable going to the therapist's office, maybe I just don't have time to go to the doctor, but I know that that sticker means that I'm walking into a safe space, and someone in that facility will have that manual with them and have a little bit of practical knowledge about, hey, like, let's think about your sleep, or the relationships in your life, those types of things. So to be able to have a grounded, like a branded type industry in a small town too, I think would be very advantageous. But that's kind of where I'm at right now, a little bit of my story and my background, and kind of where the work's at right now, and where I hope it ends up. So
that's great. Thanks, Thomas. I'm going to open it up for some questions, but if somebody wanted more information on what you were sharing about, do you have any type of web page or any type of PDF handout that talks about grounded ag that somebody could share or access?
Yep. My website is www.groundedag.org.
Perfect. I'm hoping that Rosie was accessing that, and we'll get that posted here in the chat here in a minute. Yeah, thanks so much for sharing, and thanks for your heart to support this population. Anybody that is on the call, community or working group member, have questions for Thomas? Yeah, Mike.
Yeah, really want to thank Thomas. I think this is a very important topic, and I like that concept of having this manual in every tractor shop, because sometimes just need a little reassurance to go back to the manual and check. And of course, sometimes we look at the modern technology as an opportunity, whether there's some YouTube, because a lot of folks nowadays, even from a manual standpoint, go to YouTube and just show me how to do it versus let me read the manual on how to do it. So maybe some opportunity in future.
Yep. And it is a fine line too. Like, I do have, not a disclaimer, but there is a couple paragraphs about, hey, there is a lot of things that you can do to maintain equipment, but at the end of the day, it's okay to call a mechanic. It is okay to call this dealer assistance number, and it's to know at that point, hey, I need a little extra help than what this manual can provide me. Like, that's clearly laid out too. So it's always a fine line, but it's probably one of my favorite parts of that manual is just, you're human and it's okay. And if you need more help, like, someone can help you find it. But we'll start with, I think, practical tools. I think this is going to give us the best chance to hopefully get ahead of this. Because, not to be too doom and gloom, but just all the things working, I guess, in agriculture right now, I think it's going to be better to get ahead of things.
Yeah, absolutely. Derek.
So, Thomas, at first, I just want to say I appreciate your courage. Thanks for sharing your story. And I really appreciate the work that you're doing to kind of get the word out and help some other folks get the resources and get connected. Obviously being with 988, hearing some of your thoughts and questions about specifically, like, how do we bridge the gap? How do we connect folks? That kind of piques my interest specifically because 988 really wants to be that open, friendly front door to be able to connect people and support work just like what you're doing. I think there might be some opportunities to partner there as well, to kind of help get some messaging out as well as expand on some of your concepts. But I'd love to know more about how I can help, but if you could help me maybe understand it from your thoughts, is there something that 988 could do or could do better to maybe help kind of bridge that gap?
Yep, I would definitely welcome that opportunity.
Wendy, I'm going to jump to you in just a second. Thomas, are you your whole team? Do you have anybody else that's helping you carry this load? It sounds like you're doing ag and this. That's pretty heavy load.
Yep, it is a heavy load, and I'm riding solo right now. But that heavy load, I think it's so important because agriculture is such a weird social ecosystem. And I think for true change to happen, that change has to come from within. I mean, don't get me wrong, doctors and therapists, they have their place and they're doing their job, but there's just a different kind of camaraderie when that messaging is coming from the inside, kind of within. So I don't know, it is a heavy load and I stay busy, but I'm a farm kid at heart and I take a lot of pride in that message coming from within the industry.
Right. Wendy.
I just wanted to say thank you for that information. And if Mental Health Colorado can do anything to help you, we're part of Mental Health America. We do policy advocacy, and I invite you to sign up for our Brainwave because it's a great connector with a lot of different advocates throughout Colorado and the United States with mental health. So congratulations on your manual. It hits home for me with being raised in Southeast Colorado, and serving as a commissioner down in that area. So thank you
Yep,
for
and
what
I
you're
really
doing.
enjoyed that part of the journey, just the logistics piece. Like, how does this get this manual and just the idea and the framework? How does it actually get to where it needs to be? Which I'm kind of a natural connector and networker, just kind of my personality. But I've really enjoyed that part of it. So yes, I would definitely welcome any contacts or connections you have.
Yeah, I'll put my email in the chat, and I'd love to connect with you and see what we can partner with.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thomas, remind me, what town are you in down in Southeast Colorado?
You talking to me?
Yeah.
I'm in Northeast Kansas.
Oh, Northeast Kansas. Okay.
Yep. I'm in
when Wendy said Southeast Colorado, I thought maybe you were down there too. No.
Nope, you were close. I'm in a little town called Onaga, Kansas. Okay. Onaga. Population 690 last time I checked.
Perfect. That's very small. Anybody else have questions for Thomas or thoughts based on what Tom? Oh, Jacob, I see your hand up.
Oh, good. Thanks for sharing, Thomas. Definitely a lot of things hit home. I'm going to make this as coherent. Also, I was talking to some of my Kansas buddies, and they're familiar with the work that you're doing. So good work there. One of the things that we talk about or have talked about in this group, we've got the kind of how do we help people in crisis component, but we've also got the work that a lot of the folks around on the meeting do to be more proactive. Have you seen, let me back up, referencing back to you were talking about like the 80s farm crisis and everything, the unstable markets and what that did to folks of that generation and, our generations. What do you see around Kansas and around that area of the country around being more proactive now that, as we get into some more volatile markets and we don't really know, fertilizer prices are through the roof and we've got droughts, we've got fires. Is there, resources and things too that you're seeing around your area to be proactive in that on the financial side of things, or if that is a coherent question or thought?
Nope, you're fine. The financial side is tough because agriculture is the only industry to where for you to succeed, someone else has to theoretically fail. So the financial side is tough. Like, I know USDA and the US government, those different programs, they'll help. But from just kind of my point of view, especially in Kansas, like groups like Kansas Farm Bureau and like Kansas Farmers Union and even like the Cooperative Council, everybody's doing a really, really good job with this advocacy awareness piece. And I really appreciate that. They're putting dollars towards that. From a farmer standpoint, I'm the eternal optimist, and I would hope that there's still a little bit of the lingering yuck from the 80s, like just enough to kind of give us a little bit of guidance going forward. Because, I've always heard that those who forget their history are doomed to repeat it. So hopefully there's a little bit enough of that sour taste left around to hopefully make some different decisions as we enter this. And at the end of the day, hopefully we can be more proactive and get in front of this. Because, like, I had a meeting last week with the Kansas State University their extension team, and just those different conversations, because a couple of those employees worked the crisis hotline in the early 90s coming off the 80s, and just the daily trip farm visits and all the things, like it was just terrible. So I think like people like that remembering those times, I think is going to be the fuel and the passion to hopefully get ahead of this, because I would love to be wrong and hopefully it does kind of work itself out, but there's just a lot of key indicators that kind of point back towards the 80s a little bit. So to get in front of this, I think is going to be vital industry wide, not just Colorado, not just Kansas, but nationwide. Hopefully get ahead of it.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Thomas. Rosie, you got your hand up. You got questions from the Q&A?
Yes, question from the Q&A. Do you have youth or any young adults engaged in this? Could the manual be modified for a younger audience?
Absolutely, yes, and it is modified. I was talking about that teacher background, like being a classroom teacher. I've seen, whether if you want to talk about like social, emotional gaps from COVID or just the fast-paced world that we live in, that I think we're the most disconnected we've ever been as a society, while also being the most connected we've ever been. But the young people that I'm around on a daily basis, they are, I mean, it's cliche, but they are the future of agriculture. So I like that's a pillar of grounded, is being able to work with, whether it's like high school FFA groups. Like I'm going to speak at the state convention here in Kansas Thursday. I'm doing a presentation there, working with different like groups, different college groups, like College of Agriculture there at K-State, or just different places. So long answer short, yes, it can be modified. Yes, it is being modified, and that's a huge part of why I'm doing what I'm doing.
Awesome. And the individual who asked this question also recommended a group in Kansas called Y-Link, which I believe is Youth Leaders in Kansas, and says that they would be a great group to partner with.
Thank you very much for the suggestion.
Excellent. All right. Anybody else before we move on? Really appreciate your presentation and your work, Thomas. Look forward to exploring it more. Chad dropped the link to Grounded Ag in the chat, so anybody can click on that and find out. And yeah, I think that if you have questions, Thomas, can people contact you through that webpage?
Absolutely. Yep. There's contact information. There's booking information.
Perfect.
And yep, basic contact information.
Great. Well, thanks again for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Yep, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
All right. And you're welcome to stick around for the rest of the meeting or hop off if you need to, but trust that our paths will cross again.
Okay. And just a little bit of shout out, all you guys on this meeting, just keep fighting the good fight. I mean, the stress isn't going away, but just that you guys took time out of your day to be here and have all the conversations. So kudos to you guys too. Just keep fighting the good fight.
Right on. And Derek, thanks for joining. We are going to do a bit of a legislative update now. Tim has agreed to give an update, and if anybody else has anything to add, but I'm going to first pass it to Tim and let him tell us where things landed as far as the legislation coming to our legislators' meetings coming to an end, and some of the bills and things that were pertaining to agriculture and behavioral health.
Yeah, there was a good number of bills that did go through this year, but I think the one, in looking through it, the one that pertains to us the most, at least to this work group the most, in terms of rural health, would be in terms of the camp program. In the past, excuse me, in past years, this program has had some help with state funds through BHA, but this year, because of a large budget deficit that I think we all probably heard about, that the legislature was kind of, well, they had to make some pretty tough decisions. They did change it up where I guess we can call it a cut, but it's not cut. I'm gonna explain that a little bit. So in order for the state to get the budget savings from that, the JBC, which is the Joint Budget Committee, comprised of House and Senate members, in charge of putting forward to the rest of the legislature about what to cut, what to keep, and whatnot. In order to get those savings, they had to quote cut the program, and the savings were ballpark-ish 50 grand is about what they've been giving over the last number of years. In order to get those savings, they had to quote unquote cut the program. But they left the language in there they changed it where they had to put some language in there that allows BHA to administer or contract out the program, which is what CAMP is my understanding, but with zero funding in it. So the language is there. There just isn't any money to fund it. That means that they can do is, should things turn around or should they decide to fund something in the future, it's there in statute still. So that's my understanding of it. I hope that makes sense. It's a little bit of legalese there. But excuse me. But that being said, Colorado Farm Bureau and Agribility have been having some conversations to keep the program afloat for the coming year, and keep the program going, I guess, so to speak. There's also been some side conversations, and if I don't want to out Liz on that, but we had a really good conversation with Liz, who works with BHA, last week about some possibilities too. So yeah, that's the big one there. I see Wendy put some notes in there as well. There were some good things that passed in terms of like youth sports concussion and some other things, but in terms of what was like the most pertinent to this group, the camp program is not going to be, at least as of right now, state funded, or at least legislatively funded for the next year. But that would be, there's a possibility that could come back down the road. But in the meantime, Colorado Farm Bureau and CSU Agribility are working to keep the program going. And as I think Chad can speak to, who we work with to administer this program, it's being used. There's a lot of at record numbers, a lot more than have in the past. More people are hearing about it. Awareness of it is growing, and I think the argument is there, especially in the future, for any possible legislature, that this is a program that is actually getting its money's, the taxpayers and whatnot are getting its money's worth. So I'll leave it at that. If anybody has any questions about that, please let me know. But if anybody else wants to chime in, or Chad or Liz, please do.
Yeah,
Thanks, Tim.
I would just say, from BHA, like Tim said, we had some conversations about if we can keep it at BHA, what our capacity is, gaps, things of that sort. All of our budget stuff has to be done before end of May, so we have a couple days. So hoping to have more conversations with BHA on if we can provide more funds, what that might look like, the importance of this program, and then if not, hoping to do some stuff within my role of like grants or other funding that maybe we could find for that program.
Well, thanks for that, Liz.
Yeah, and Liz, we really appreciate your help in trying to find some options there. So just real quick, in terms of numbers, as of the 22nd of May in this fiscal year, so June 30th till May 22nd, we've had 406 hours of free therapy utilized. The most we've ever had in any fiscal year before that was 335 total. So that gives you an indication of how much more of a need and utilization there is this year. But total, since this began in 2021, we've given out 1,423 hours of therapy for 291 Coloradans. So part of the reason why I believe it's been successful is because of the help of amazing partners like you all that spread the news, share the message, and hopefully we provide an opportunity for a segment of the population that historically has had barriers and difficulties to help seeking, get them familiar with the process, that we can link them up to local providers if they need additional help or support. but happy for Colorado Farm Bureau's stewardship of this program and all the support from all the amazing partners. So thank you all. We'll do the best we can to keep it going another year.
Thanks, you guys, for your advocating for that. Anybody else have anything legislation-wise with the state of the budget that pertains to this work group that you feel pertinent to share now that the budget has been passed and the legislative session is over?
I know the horse has been pretty well beaten, but for anybody on the call who's not overly familiar with CAMP and those resources, as somebody that's used it and directed other folks to be able to use that resource, it's something definitely to do our best to hang on to, and has made a significant and very tangible difference in Colorado agriculture. So if you're not familiar and you want to, go for it. If there's any need for me to do anything yelling at a Capitol, I have a loud voice. So appreciate all of you who are fighting to keep it.
Excellent. Thanks, Jacob. JC.
Thanks. I'll just say from the behavioral health industry, this is our third year with a budget deficit at the state level. We can anticipate a year 4 budget deficit, I would imagine as well, based on what I'm seeing. Reduction in Medicaid covered lives, which means reduction in Medicaid revenue coming into the safety net providers, which are your FQHCs and which federally qualified health centers and your community mental health centers. So that's pretty devastating. So I think you're going to see the behavioral health industry go back to what I refer to as block and tackling. We're going to do what we can, but innovation is going to be stifled for a while. And so things like these projects that we're sharing in these meetings and how to source them out to get the additional resources necessary to try to stand up innovation is, I think, what's going to have to happen. I don't know that you're going to see it in the healthcare industry itself across any sectors right now. Where I see it is in the private sector, just like the presentation we had earlier. And it's unfortunate to Tim's report, we're losing a little bit of money. But it goes to also show us that we're going to have to get creative in our communities outside of our traditional behavioral health network.
Yeah, I like that. Thanks for that reminder, JC, that we're going to have to continue to innovate and make new partners. And that feels really important. All right. Anybody else on legislative stuff? Not missing any hands. Thank you guys for those updates. And Rosie, with that, passing it to you about 5 minutes early.
Cool. I have a few updates for everyone. The first is that we received one submission for our RFP to host the summit. I think due to the fact that it is a fairly specific requirement of being a statewide ag organization that wants to host it and also is willing to host it for a pretty small budget amount. We only have $7,000 allocated from legislature for this event. But we got a proposal from Rocky Mountain Farmers Union, who, as you all know, hosted the summit last year. So they have won this not very competitive bid to host the event, and we're very glad because they did a great job last year. I will say that unfortunately, Carlisle Stewart is transitioning out of his role. So there will be a new person in that role this year. So we will have a new individual helping us host the event this year, but their team obviously was all part of the summit last year. So we can build on that knowledge, and Robert and I will be setting up a meeting in the next 2 weeks to really get started on planning. Tyler Garrett is going to step in this interim while they're hiring Carlisle's replacement. So I think we'll be able to start making planning progress in the next month, and we'll hopefully have more to report at our next meeting. The other thing is about our July meeting. So we've tossed around a few different ideas for our next hybrid meeting. The current idea, which I would love to hear feedback on today, if there's appetite for this, there is the Rural Peer Health Conference is going on in Glenwood Springs this year. It is from July 29th to the 31st, and I'll put a link to that event here in the chat. We have, I believe, Liz and Robert have both applied to be presenters at this conference, including talking about COMET training and other ag behavioral health things that we have seen so far through this group. So we think that there could be quite a few of us attending this conference. Additionally, the kind of mountain region is a part of the state that we haven't necessarily been to yet as a group. So our meeting is scheduled for July 28th, that Tuesday. But we were thinking if there is interest from the group that we could move that meeting to Wednesday, the 29th. The conference doesn't start until 4 p.m. on that day. So we could have our meeting and then kind of like we did in Durango, if folks are interested in moving on to that conference, they would be able to do so. And it would just give us another opportunity to be in person. And I think it would be very possible to schedule a tour in that area with a local producer. So that is our current idea for a potential next hybrid meeting. I'm curious what folks think, if people have a second to look at their calendar, and if you know whether or not you'd be able to make that travel happen. Would love to hear from folks, either now or via email. Any initial thoughts?
I like the in-person option, so thanks for the creative thinking there. And maybe we can include that in the follow-up email as well for folks to have the opportunity to respond to you. But
has anyone been to this conference also? I'm just curious. No. All right. Yes, please email me. Think about that. I know it is a busy time of year for those actively involved in ag. So we just let me know if that is something people are interested in. And then next and final update is legislative session is over. So we have more time and capacity from this group to get our policy subcommittee up and running. So I just want to make sure that anyone that is interested in being on that subcommittee can make their voice heard before I send out a doodle poll to find out a good meeting time. So I don't want to miss anyone who is interested in being on that policy group. Based on our sign-up sheet, the folks that I have that are interested are Tim, Wendy, and JC, which makes sense given all of your expertise. But is there anyone else that would be interested in being on that subcommittee? I'll also send this in our follow-up email, and folks will have a chance to let me know via email.
I would strongly encourage, even if you're not on the policy subcommittee, please talk to your legislators and encourage them to support mental health, because some of the pushback we're getting from the rural areas is, oh, this can be a local thing and not done legislative, but they do not understand mental health in that aspect, that sometimes the policy comes from above. We had some rural legislators that scored very low this year, which was very disappointing. And we had some that scored very high. So.
Thanks, Wendy.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, those are my CDA updates for now.
Perfect. And final CDA update. Robert said if he wasn't able to join, he'd send some notes from the CDA just with drought update for across the state. And as JC said, hopefully some rain is in the forecast that will hit the majority of the state this week. It looks like it's coming, but I know that it's not going to change the drought conditions overnight. So thanks, Rosie. I think that team brings us to Mike and Rebecca, and we are a little bit ahead of schedule, Mike. So if you want to take 10 minutes or so, talk as you need, but really grateful that you guys wanted to share about what's going on down at the reservation. So with that, going to turn it over to you two.
Okay, well, thank you, Clint. And Rosie's going to drive for us. So I sent a PDF presentation. And what I'll do at the end is just put in our website link for the Southern Ute Tribe and those that are on the panel and those that are joining us via the public. You can click on the link or just search us out and you can find more information about what we're talking about. So with that, joining me today is Gale, Rebecca Gale, and I'll let her introduce herself. But myself, Michael Geen, I am the current tribal treasurer for the Southern Ute Tribal Council. I've actually been working for the tribe for over 40 years in different capacities. 22 of those years were actually in the tribe's Department of Natural Resources, working within our wildlife conservation, and then of course department that oversaw a bunch of our different divisions, which was ag was one of those, range, forestry, wildlife, and of course our lands division. With that, I'm going to go ahead and let Rebecca introduce herself, and with our presentation, I'll talk a little bit about the tribe, and then I'll turn it over to her to talk about her programs.
Hi, everybody. I'm Rebecca, and I'm a licensed clinical social worker. Been in the field of behavioral health for about 20 years, working in various capacities, from doing psych hospital to inpatient treatment to adolescent inpatient, and now for the last 4 years been with the tribe, in the last 2 years in my current position as behavioral health manager.
Thank you, Rebecca. I just wanted to show a few slides here of who we are. This actually is a picture of our last group of chiefs that managed the tribe, led the tribe. In the middle is our last hereditary chief, Buckskin Charlie. And along with him were various sub-chiefs. In fact, my family, my kids actually are related to two of them. So they're great-great-grandfathers. And of course, at the bottom there is at the Garden of the Gods there in Colorado Springs, which was a huge gathering, and the tribe itself has a lot of history within the state of Colorado. Next slide. This is our current council as of the 26 calendar year. The chairman, who is in the middle, Melvin Baker, however, did resign here a couple of weeks ago for personal reasons. The gentleman to our left, looking at him with the cowboy hat, that is Marvin Pennycoos, who was the vice chairman. He has been appointed by the council as the acting chairman. We're going through a special election since Chairman Baker's term actually exceeded 6 months. So we do have to have a special election for the 6 months. The term actually was due to expire come December. So there'll be another election come November. Next slide. This just shows what our actual territory was comprised of. As you could see, our hunting grounds actually comprised of a majority of the state of Colorado. We roamed into New Mexico and Utah and also up into Wyoming. The red line depicts that. The kind of, well, it shows kind of greenish. That's where our hunting grounds and our, or the homelands and our gathering areas. We were considered a nomadic tribe that actually followed the trends of kind of the holistic approach, only gather what you needed and leave the rest for future. Next slide. And then this map shows our reservation. It's comprised of over 720,000 acres of tribal trust lands. And within the boundaries, we do have what is considered fee lands as well as some federal lands, U.S. forest lands, and then Bureau of Rec lands. Majority of the land is actually agricultural land, which are kind of the white shaded areas. And then, of course, the dark blue are the allotments and a home site or tribal assignments, which are ag lands. So we're actually working with a lot of land that is fallow right now with tribal land. And we're in the process of revamping our tribal codes to bring that up to par where we start seeing production and compliance with these codes. Next slide. Then, of course, with tribal council, we are a sovereign tribe. We manage our own resources by protecting our culture. And then, of course, we serve our people now and into the future. Our vision is we will be a sovereign tribal nation that encourages the membership to achieve their full potential through self-responsibility. We definitely strive to expand our tribal resources, our culture and traditions, while ensuring never-ending prosperity. And of course, this creates access to resources that enhance capabilities, provide education, and enrich experiences for our people. Our core values, we do have accountability, communication, compassion, ethics, foresight, health, heritage, integrity, partnership, preservation, safety, spirituality, sustainability, and transparency. And of course, with all this, we definitely strive to ensure that our younger generations become the future leaders of the tribe. And it was even pointed out in a few of our sessions that, especially in ag, finding those future farmers is a challenge for us as well. Okay, next slide. And just wanted to share our tribal seal. There was a comment about a business card I had passed out at last meeting. And as you can see in our seal, this was created by a couple of elder tribal members who are no longer with us. And we do see some of our resources, the mountains and the forest, the river, the bear and the elk, of course, the sun. And then we get in kind of the ag area, the tractor, the cattle, the sheep, and then, of course, oil and gas, which is a big part of our revenue here on the reservation. The peace pipe, the Indian head, the two feathers on the pipe, leaf branch, the Colorado state flag, since we are within the state of Colorado. Then, of course, the circle that surrounds the seal itself. And if you go into our website and you click on any of the tabs up on top, you'll be able to find the actual meaning of each of these symbols. Okay, and with that, I'm going to turn it over to Rebecca to explain what she's doing within behavioral health. And I actually chatted with her a couple of weeks ago, preparing for this session, and come to find out she has some ties to ag in horse therapy. Turn it over to you.
Thank you, Councilman Odine. Yeah, I actually grew up in Ohio, in the southeastern Ohio Valley, to a ranching family. My grandpa was a cattle rancher. And one of my favorite modalities to use as a therapist is equine-assisted psychotherapy, which we're not currently offering here, but I have high hopes so that one day we will. But so this first slide here shows our newest addition to the behavioral health program, and that is our mobile medical unit. We're really excited about this because we're working on our policies and procedures for it right now, but once those are finalized and go to tribal council, we'll be able to take this mobile medical unit throughout the reservation. Given that we are kind of a checkerboard situation here, we have a lot of community members who may not be able to travel to Ignacio for services. And so this way we can bring our services to them. And so we're really excited about that and hope to have that actually on the road and going within the next few months. And we can look at our next slide. So we do have a very robust program here at Behavioral Health. These are the staff that we have within our program. And so we do have 6 independently licensed therapists who are able to work with people from all ages from 3 years old and up. We do individual therapy, family therapy, couples counseling, and we work with a variety of mental health diagnoses, not just substance use disorder, lots of trauma, anxiety, PTSD, things like that. We do have 2 certified addiction specialists on board, and we have a part-time psychiatrist we contract with. I think we have him about 4 days a month right now. He stays very busy. And I think he's scheduling about 2 months out right now, but he does our psychiatric assessments and medication management for us. We do have a full-time physician who prescribes medication-assisted treatment for those folks who need it. We have a patient care coordinator who does the case management piece for people who maybe need a little bit of extra help with those things that we all need, housing, food, just figuring out things like that. We have an open position for a suicide and substance use prevention coordinator, but I'm hopeful that we're going to be offering that within the next couple of days. We have an administrative assistant, behavioral health clerk, and then we just recently, within the last year, started our clinical intern program. We're working with the University of Denver and their Four Corners Masters of Social Work program to start to train those up and coming therapists who are going to be working with our people, because we want them to work from the mind, body, spirit lens and be culturally grounded. And I think in one of our upcoming slides, I'll talk about our workforce issues, but this is our attempt at starting to maybe address that situation. And so I should say also, we are able to offer in-person sessions at the office. We can go to the community if we need to. We do have a space in the library where we can meet with people. That's confidential. We also go to the Southern Youth Detention Center. We offer groups and individual sessions there, and we can provide telehealth services for people who either don't want to come to us for various reasons or are not able to come to us. So we try to address it from all the angles that we can. And then you can go to the next slide. Yeah. So our successes in the last 2 years, we've seen exponential growth here in our program. We're scheduling between 450 and 500 sessions per month. That doesn't mean everybody shows up, but we are scheduling those, and those are not including the groups that we offer throughout the week. We do have culturally based white bison well variety groups that occur within the community. They're very well attended, and we also do have some telehealth groups so that people can log in that way if they need to. Soon to come, recovery housing. We're hoping to break ground on that within the next month or two. And we're going to have a men's house and a women's house. And that model will be that people who have gone to inpatient treatment for at least 30 days and are being discharged from inpatient can come to us and be with us for 6 months. We're going to provide clinical programming at the ASAM 3.1 level for those of you who might know what that is, because we know that one of the gaps that we have here is people leaving inpatient treatment and then coming right back into the same situation that they left. We're also working on developing our opioid treatment program, where we will be able to prescribe methadone for folks who qualify for that. We just had our 4th annual recovery retreat that was attended by well over 200 people this year. People come from all over the state and all around the region to hear the presenters, to get information, and we literally have people with their hands up saying, I want to come next year and I want to be a presenter. So it was really taken off, and we're really proud. And this year it was just so touching. We ended the day with everyone circling up, and we offered a prayer of thanksgiving for the people who are in recovery, and then a prayer of support for the people who are entering early recovery. So it was pretty awesome. And we also see the progress that our clients are making, and staff retention is really, really good here within this division, especially considering the work that we do. The challenges I wanted to mention, Thomas's presentation has really spoke to my heart, because I think the biggest challenge we face is stigma around mental health or behavioral health issues. And I think that the way that we start to address that is exactly the way that Thomas is doing it, is by talking about it and normalizing it, because, you know, we're all humans, we all have problems, and we all at times need the help and support from other people. Our workforce issues here in this corner of the state are significant, especially when we're looking to hire people with higher degrees of education. We do have funding limitations as well, so we're always looking for grants to help us with our programming. And then within the community, sometimes we have problems with confidentiality. It's a small community. Everybody knows everybody. I was raised in a community like that as well, and everybody knew my story. And sometimes that makes it really difficult to reach out and ask for help. And I think that's my last slide, and it looks like I'm 1 minute over time. So I think I'll be quiet now unless anybody has any questions.
That was awesome. Thank you guys. Thanks for sharing about the Ute tribe. And I did have one question, Rebecca. Those numbers that you gave were incredible, 450 to 500 sessions. What's the population of folks that this is serving down on the tribe?
We serve anybody who's IHS eligible. So not just Southern Ute tribal members, but any member of a federally recognized Native American tribe. And we do have some Southern Ute community members that live off reservation. Some live in other states, and we're able to serve them through our telehealth capacity.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Word of mouth, I think, is getting out. And we're just becoming, and we actually even have a little bit of a wait list right now. I think we have about 10 people on it last I looked.
And it's free of charge for anybody who's a member?
Yes.
Wow, that is fantastic. Any other questions for Mike or Rebecca? That was really great.
I put our link to our public domain there. So again, anybody that is curious further, they can click on that and learn more about us.
Thanks, Mike. Chad?
I did have a question. I just wanted to say thank you for sharing the scope and the range of work y'all are doing to address your community needs. So thank you.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. Thanks, Clint, for allowing us the time to present.
Yeah, thank you, Mike, and thanks for inviting Rebecca to share about the behavioral health stuff. Really appreciate you guys sharing. And Mike's obviously on the working group, but Rebecca, if somebody has a question for you, would you be willing to drop your email in the chat for people to reach out directly if they had any follow-up questions that come about?
Sure, I'll do that right now.
Hey, thanks a lot. Okay. So we've got about 5 minutes left. Curious if anybody has any announcements about events coming up this summer. I think that Liz is recording events for the email, whatever newsletter that she is compiling. So make sure that she has those. Are we too late, Liz, to give you submissions? No, you're still compiling. Okay. So let Liz know about anything that's going on this summer, but anybody come off mute and let us know about things going on in your neck of the woods or that you're a part of.
And for a little bit of context, it's going out June 1st and it's going to be quarterly. So if you have events within like the next couple of months, let us know and we can put them in there.
Perfect. Thanks for joining, Leova. JC, did I see your hand up?
You did. It wasn't an update. I just needed those dates again that Rosie proposed in July. Could she share those dates again?
Yeah, so it'll be July 29th to the 31st.
July 29th through 31 in the location.
In Glenwood, please. Glenwood Springs.
Chad, I saw you posted about the cigar box workshop. Anything you want to tell us about that?
Yeah, I'll be in Paonia on the 11th of June. It's free of cost. We'll have pizza and everything that farmers and ranchers would need to build a one-string cigar box guitar. So,
see example behind Chad on the wall. That one actually has 3 strings, but it looks a lot like that, right?
Maybe not quite as. Maybe not.
Oh, JC's giving us a better example. Yep, perfect.
There will be, sorry, Clinton. There'll be some legacy showings coming up this summer. One for the Arkansas River Basin Roundtable coming up in August, and then a couple scattered ones I know down here through the summer. And then there's currently a national organization doing a highlight on mental health and agriculture. So there's some filming going on in July and more updates as they become available.
Cool.
I have a conversation training coming up this Thursday. Is it this Thursday? On the 28th. Kind of lost track of what week I was in, but anyway, that's going to be Thursday in Olathe. really drawing from the Montrose Delta area, but anyone is welcome to come. It's 5:30 to 7:30 at the Olathe Community Center. And COM is counseling on access to lethal means. So it's a suicide intervention type of
Awesome.
training.
Yeah, thanks, Julie.
And it's free. And I think we're having dinner.
Sounds like a great get together. Michael Lozano, you guys got anything going on up in Warhorse Ranch? You listed off a number of things you were doing this summer, but anything that we should be sure to post for folks?
Yeah, there's a ranch roundup. It's I forget what she's calling it. But we will be sending out information. It's actually on the Warhorse Ranch website right now.
Okay.
It's just like a fitness ranching type activity where people could come and have teams. It's not like a Tough Mudder, but it's like puts in the ranching spirit of throwing hay and moving fence posts. So
Love it.
it's gonna be a blast. And I also wanted to tell Rebecca, Gale, we do the equine therapy as well, and it would be really good to train your mental health staff just so they have a part of it and understand it. So when it does get underway, every therapist works differently in the office. They also have their own unique things when it comes to the horses. And plus, it's part of the heritage of the Ute tribe. So, and we always ask the community to come out if you want to visit the horses free of charge. So, just to get everybody involved.
Where's your program located?
It's in North Routt County, in Steamboat Springs.
Oh, you're
And
kind
it's
of
Warhorse Ranch. Yeah, warhorseranch.org.
Awesome.
And we have the Agala certification as well.
Good luck.
So, yeah.
All right, we got about a minute left. Anybody got anything any parting words or any parting events that we need to know about from Jacob?
It might be a little late for state FFA convention since it's next week, but if anyone is interested in tabling or presenting at state 4-H conference at the end of June, I think they're still open for requests for presentations, but I will leave that to my friends in extension who may or may not know.
I know we're on the books to present. I don't know if they still have a call for others, but if you're interested, let me know and I can connect you to Lisa Schulten with 4-H. So
perfect. All right, Rosie, anything that I'm missing? Or Liz, I see you coming off mute. What do you got?
I was just gonna say upcoming outreach events that we'll be at for BHA. We'll be at the Livestock Association in Blackhawk, June 8th and 9th. And then we'll also be at Colorado Cattlemen's Convention in Loveland, June 22nd, 23rd. And I'll actually be giving a presentation to one of their committee meetings on mental health and ag there. So those will be some good ones to be at if you're in the area.
Yeah, excited that you're giving that presentation at the CCA. That's great. Rosie, anything before we sign off? Thumbs up.
I think we're all good.
Hey, thank you guys. I know that you're all busy and this is a long meeting, and I really appreciate you, kind of like Thomas said, committing to this. It is inspiring, and hopefully we'll see you all in June, the end of June. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.